Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet Dr. Isha Mannering. She's a board-certified pediatrician. She's going to talk about her passion for helping kids. Next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I have so much respect for people who practice in the field of medicine, but especially those hardworking men and women who have dedicated their lives to helping kids. In the studio right now, Dr. Isha Mannering. She's a board-certified pediatrician. She's my friend, and she's in studio. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
Absolutely. Well, we met through a good friend, Crilley Dion, and she featured you on her show.
She did.
And so we met a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you have to come on my show. So why don't we start at the beginning? Like, when did you first become interested in medicine and specifically kids?
Well, I think that's been my calling for as long as I can remember. I was always just drawn to the field of medicine. I knew I wanted to go into something where I could have an impact on someone in a positive way. And I think I always just loved working with kids. I was babysitting for as long as I can remember. I'm 7 years older than my sister, so it was came very naturally to me to want to take care of them, to take care of kids and to help them. And so as I got older and kind of went through different stages of my schooling, it just reinforced it even more. I also had my aunt and uncle who were physicians in rural Tennessee that I kind of grew up watching the impact that they made on their community. And, I definitely learned a lot from my observations. And once I started medical school and got a taste of pediatrics, I just knew I was in the right place.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of fun when you work with kids. I laugh every day. I think
It's so rewarding. More from Dr. Mannering in a second. We're going to show a clip from the newscast she did with Crilley Dion.
What kind of questions do you wish that parents would maybe ask you, or maybe they don't know to ask, but some things that they should ask if they go to somebody that maybe isn't you?
So I think one important thing is, how do I get in touch with you when I have a question? I don't think that, you should have to wait till you're at your appointment to have all of your questions, although I welcome that. I love lists. So I love when people have their lists. But, if you have a question that comes up in between, what are the ways that I can get in touch with you? What if it's an emergency? How do I reach your office? And then just from a medical care standpoint, I'm big on development. I'm big on early childhood development. And so one thing I start with, even from the newborn stage, is, hey, how can we set our baby up for success? Let's do some things right from the beginning that maybe foster, good bonds with parents and foster good, communication and language development and, physical development. And I think that's something that, is definitely a fair question to ask your doctor is, hey, how can I maybe set my baby up for success developmentally? What can I do preventatively? What can I do to maybe think about them in the future, not just the immediate issues that we're in here for now?
Yeah, those are some really good points, because I know you would always give the booklet with all the information for me, because I need to visually look at things.
Yes.
Wow. And the thing that strikes me about that interview is you almost become a therapist, because right, for both mom and dad and the child.
In a way, yes. A lot of it is just getting to know my families. And that's truly one of the joys of what I do. I have the privilege of getting to see patients from the newborn stage in the hospital through the first year of college. And that's, a long time to get to know a family. And I get to experience a lot of their life along with them.
Okay, and you're a mom of two kiddos, a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old boy.
Very busy boys.
The two boys. So it probably gives you a lot of empathy for the families that you're helping.
Absolutely. It's one thing to read about practicing medicine in a textbook. It's one thing to read about advice that you would give to parents. But it's another thing to live it and then be able to present it in a much more realistic way and in a way that just really wraps up everything that you feel about your own kid. And I would never recommend something that I wouldn't want to do for my own children.
Absolutely. Let's talk about bedside manner, because I know a class they do not offer in medical school is bedside manner. So some physicians end up breaking bad news to a family and can traumatize a family. So when you actually have to deliver bad news, how do you go through that?
And that's so unfortunate. I just, it's hard to hear that sometimes these families are not having the best experiences with that. But fortunately in pediatrics, it's not as common, right? There's not many situations where I have to do this, but when I do, it's with a lot of sensitivity and understanding to how they might be hearing this news, right? And of course, being a parent myself, I am very sensitive to, how a parent would feel when they're hearing things that could change their lives. And I think part of the art of medicine is to be able to understand how somebody needs to receive information or how they communicate the best. And I think having a relationship already with my families helps, but I also try to present things in a way that they're going to feel comfortable with and feel like they can kind of trust my advice.
Yes. We've got some video from our library that we're going to put up on the screen while we're talking. When you're getting to know a family for the first time, and especially you're getting to know the child, how do you get on their level? I mean, do you have toys in the office, or how do you get on their level?
Toys carry a lot of germs, so we try to keep that to a minimum, but I do have a lot of fun with my patients, and I think it's so important to get them comfortable because I want them to have a good relationship with me over time. And whenever I kind of come into the room, I try to stay back for a little bit just so they can get used to me being in their presence. And then I usually just talk to the child directly. Even if they're babies, I talk to them directly. And I kind of try to get a sense of, what makes them comfortable, what makes them happy, what do they want to talk about? Do they want to talk about video games? Do they want to talk about princesses? And we kind of start with that. And then we kind of incorporate that into our visit. I have a very big imagination, so I'm always finding unicorns or mermaids or princesses in the ears, or, just kind of try to do whatever I can so that they have a good experience.
Well, you have a very playful side, and I found a photo. We're going to put it on the screen, and I want you to describe this. So tell us about this baby.
Oh, so this is one of my sweet patients. I was actually trying to teach her about the inner ear, but I was wearing a pink elf costume. So in our pediatrics office, we like to have fun. Every Halloween we're dressing up. It's a big deal. And for any occasion that we can, wear a costume or make it fun, we will. So this was a holiday theme event. We just decided we're going to be elves today, and I think the kids loved it. So we might make it a thing.
Well, let's talk about the importance of, having a routine and going in. How often should a mom or dad bring their child in?
Great question. There's actually standard recommendations by the American Academy of Pediatrics, which we follow. So basically, the first 2 years of life, you're going to be coming in more frequently, every couple of weeks, every couple of months. Then at age 3, it kind of spaces out to annual checkups. So even if your child is healthy, they're not sick, they don't need shots, they don't need any forms for school, we still recommend at least that annual checkup with your pediatrician. And then, of course, if there's ever a concern a parent has about their child's health, it is always the right answer to reach out and try to schedule something with their pediatrician.
And you've been doing this over a decade. So what is it like watching the child grow up?
Oh, it's the best. It gets me every time. I think that is truly one of the, most special things about pediatrics and what I do. It's really fun. We get to go through a lot of different stages together, and as they get older, it's a little bit of a different visit. You know, a lot of times I'll have the parents step out, and we'll talk about teenager things, and we'll talk about questions they may have that they want to ask privately. But when they're younger, it's a lot more just fun and playful.
Okay, we've got about a minute left. So if a person is watching this and says, I think I just found my pediatrician, what is the process like? Do they call your office and set an appointment?
Absolutely. We have a practice of board certified pediatricians. We have 4 different locations in the area, and we love serving our community. So they can reach out to our practice, they can call the office number, and they can get set up.
Outstanding. You've been an amazing guest. We're going to put her website up to end this so you can get in touch with Dr. Mannering for all of your needs. Dr. Isha Mannering, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.